A pagan king has a dream. He does not know what it means. He does not even remember what it was. And he gives his wise men an ultimatum that no ruler in the ancient world had ever given before. Tell me the dream itself, not just the interpretation. Tell me what I dreamed, or die. Every astrologer, magician, and enchanter in Babylon fails. And then, a young Jewish exile, a captive, a nobody, a man with no political power and no standing in the Babylonian court, asks for one night to pray. And in the morning, he walks into the throne room and tells the most powerful man on earth exactly what he dreamed. That alone would be remarkable. But what Daniel tells Nebuchadnezzar next is something that has fascinated scholars, theologians, and historians for over 2,000 years. Because Daniel does not just describe a statue made of gold and silver and bronze and iron and clay, he describes the entire arc of human history, from Babylon to the end. And he does it in one night, in a foreign court, as a prisoner. To understand Daniel 2, you need to understand who Nebuchadnezzar was. This is not a minor king. Nebuchadnezzar II ruled the Neo-Babylonian Empire at its absolute peak, roughly 605 to 562 BCE. He is the king who destroyed Jerusalem, who burned Solomon's temple to the ground, who deported the Jewish people in 3 waves, removing the leadership class, the craftsmen, the intellectuals, and the royalty. Daniel was in that first wave, taken as a teenager, selected specifically because he was intelligent, educated, and physically impressive, someone who could be trained for royal service. The Babylonians were strategic about this. You take the best minds of a conquered people, you train them in your language and your literature, and you make them useful to your empire. But something goes wrong with Daniel. He refuses to be fully absorbed. The dream comes in the 2nd year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign. Scholars note the timing. This is early. The empire is young. The king is powerful but also, perhaps, anxious. Great conquerors often are. They build empires and then spend their nights wondering how long they will last. Nebuchadnezzar wakes from the dream disturbed. The Hebrew word used for his spirit, ruach, suggests not just fear but a deep agitation, a disturbance at the level of his soul. He cannot shake it. And here is what makes his demands so extraordinary. He does not ask his wise men to interpret a dream he describes to them. That was the normal protocol. The king tells the dream, the interpreters offer meanings. Nebuchadnezzar refuses this. He demands that the wise men tell him the dream itself, unprompted. This is either madness or genius. Because if they can tell him the dream, he will know their interpretation can be trusted. And if they cannot, if they have been giving him comfortable, politically safe interpretations all along, he will know that too. It is a test of whether his entire court of advisors has been deceiving him. They have no answer. And the death sentence goes out. Daniel asks for time. He goes to his 3 friends Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, known in Babylon as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They pray together through the night. And then, in the night, the mystery is revealed to Daniel in a vision. What God shows him is this: a massive statue. Enormous. Brilliant. Terrifying. The head, pure gold. The chest and arms, silver. The belly and thighs, bronze. The legs, iron. The feet, iron mixed with clay. And then a stone, cut without human hands, strikes the statue at its weakest point, the feet of iron and clay. The entire statue collapses. The gold and silver and bronze and iron and clay are crushed together, becoming like chaff on a threshing floor, blown away by the wind until nothing remains. And the stone that struck it becomes a great mountain and fills the whole earth. Daniel's interpretation is methodical and precise. The head of gold, Nebuchadnezzar himself. His kingdom, Babylon, the greatest empire of the ancient world, absolute in its power, unmatched in its wealth. After him will arise another kingdom, inferior the silver. Most scholars identify this as the Medo-Persian Empire, which conquered Babylon in 539 BCE under Cyrus the Great. Larger in territory but less centralized in power. A third kingdom of bronze will rule over all the earth, traditionally understood as the Greek Empire under Alexander the Great, whose conquests were breathtaking in speed and scope. And then the fourth, iron. Strong as iron, crushing and breaking everything. Rome. The empire that would shatter the ancient world and remake it. But then the feet. Iron mixed with clay. A kingdom divided. Strong in some places, brittle in others. Not fully unified. Not fully broken. A mixture that does not quite hold together. And the stone. Here is what most people miss about the stone. Daniel says it explicitly. The stone is cut without human hands. This phrase in Aramaic, de la bidin, is not decorative. It is theologically loaded. Every empire in the statue was built by human hands. By armies, by strategy, by conquest, by administration. The stone is categorically different. It originates from outside the system. And it strikes the feet, not the head, not the chest, not the most powerful section of the statue. It strikes the weakest point. The mixed, divided, unstable base. This is the pattern the book of Daniel will return to again and again. God does not work the way empires work. He does not overpower the powerful directly. He works at the margins. Through exiles. Through prisoners. Through young men who refuse to eat the king's food. Through dreams in the night. Now notice what Daniel does before he interprets anything. In verse 20, before he stands before the king, Daniel prays. And his prayer is worth reading carefully. He does not thank God for protecting him or for giving him special status. He says, "Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, to whom belong wisdom and might." He changes times and seasons. He removes kings and sets up kings. He removes kings and sets up kings. Daniel is standing in Nebuchadnezzar's court, about to tell this king that his empire is the greatest the world has ever seen, and also that it will fall. And before he even enters the room, he has already declared that every king, including this one, serves at God's pleasure. That is not diplomacy. That is theological courage of a very specific kind. And Nebuchadnezzar's response is stunning. The most powerful man in the world falls on his face before a Jewish prisoner. He offers incense. He commands that an offering be made to Daniel's God. And he says, "Truly, your God is God of gods and Lord of kings and a revealer of mysteries." He does not convert. He does not abandon his gods. But he recognizes something he cannot explain. And for a moment, in the throne room of the greatest empire on earth, a pagan king acknowledges that there is a God above all gods who knows the end from the beginning. There is something in this chapter that speaks directly to anyone who has ever felt like they are in exile. Daniel does not choose his circumstances. He does not choose Babylon. He does not choose to be taken from Jerusalem as a teenager. He does not choose to serve a king who destroyed his home and his temple. But he chooses how he lives inside those circumstances. And the dream he interprets is not a comfortable one. It is a dream about the rise and fall of empires, including the empire he currently serves in. The message underneath it is this: no human kingdom lasts. Every empire that has ever existed has believed itself to be the final, permanent order of things. Every one of them has ended. And yet the stone, the thing that is not built by human hands, that continues. Maybe you are in a Babylon of your own, a place you did not choose, a set of circumstances that feel like captivity, a season where the powerful make decisions over your life and you have no say. Daniel's answer is not escape. It is not resistance in the political sense. It is something harder and stranger, faithfulness in the place where you are, grounded in a conviction that the God who knows the end from the beginning has not lost track of you. The kingdoms come and go. The stone remains. A pagan king has a dream. And, in that dream, God shows him something no astrologer, no wise man, no enchanter could have told him. Not because they lacked intelligence, but because what God reveals cannot be deduced. It can only be given. Nebuchadnezzar will forget this lesson. The book of Daniel will show us that again and again he will reach for his own glory, again and again, until a later chapter breaks him completely and puts him in the field eating grass like an animal until he lifts his eyes to heaven. But Daniel will not forget. Through every regime change, Babylon, then Medo-Persia, then the transition of kings, Daniel remains. A man who served every empire and belonged to none of them. The stone cut without human hands. Still falling. Still filling the earth. If you want to go deeper into Daniel, the visions, the historical background, the Aramaic and Hebrew shifts in the text, there is a link below to support the channel. And next time, we are going to look at Daniel 3. Why 3 men walked into a furnace and refused to bow, and what the Aramaic of that chapter reveals that most translations miss.